What's so strange about it is going into the playoffs, we told everyone he's a dead man walking. He's a lame duck coach. He's out of here.
Right.
100% he's gone. And then as they started winning, we went, well, of course they're going to figure it out.
Yeah, we said he's gone unless he wins the Stanley Cup, which we thought was
I actually
pretty
thought
improbable.
if he beat Pittsburgh, but I didn't know all the ins and outs of what was going on over there. But I thought if he beat Pittsburgh, that there was a good shot he would
But you knew he wasn't happy.
And I said if he beats Tampa, you definitely got him.
He's a lock.
Right. That's why, for the most part, it was still a shocker.
What do we know?
Because of the way the season ended. But you never know. And I think it shows that deep, deep, deep down, both sides weren't really happy with the arrangement at this point. So, a split was inevitable.
I'm getting this from Neil Greenberg, just texted me.
Okay.
He's listening. And Neil's got to go train my dog now the cap season's over. Yeah.
Very nice.
He says, I asked around. Some feel Reardon was the one who made the tactical switches that enabled the Caps to win the Cup. Could be possible defense played really well because of Reardon.
Yeah, listen.
They
obviously
feel
love
he was
him.
the linchpin of the Cup run and not Trotz. So that's why they're willing to not pay Trotz $5 million, $4.5 million per year.
Yeah.
Pay Reardon much less, and they're hoping it's a seamless transition into the next season.
Again, everyone is replaceable.
Sure.
Replaceable, especially when he's hitting 213. Coaches are replaceable. All players are replaceable. At the end of the day, you take your emotion out of it. So, let's hope it works.
There are a few that aren't replaceable.
God forbid, even the junkies are replaceable. We don't like to think
is
that's
LeBron
the case.
James replaceable? There's a few that aren't.
Well, I mean,
the
Warriors didn't need him.
The greatest of the great are not replaceable.
Let's go to Joe in Upper Marlboro. Joe, what's up?
What's going on, fellas?
How are you, my friend?
Yeah.
You guys are not replaceable. You guys are the LeBron James of radio,
Oh,
so
thank you.
y'all aren't replaceable.
Thank you very
much. You actually
much.
bring up an excellent point. Thank you, Joe.
You know what I'm saying? For me lately, type of world, and he did what everybody has been wanting and yearning for in DC. And why don't you pay the man? Like, why don't you pay him? I understand, you know what I'm saying, you have somebody waiting in the wind that, may be able to do the same thing he did, but he did it.
Mm-hmm.
He did it. And I'm like, why not pay him? Why not bring him back? He made the entire city feel great. I'm not even a hockey guy. I enjoyed the entire rush, everything that was going on. You got to pay this man. And you got to keep him. You know what I'm saying? You're making the city happy by bringing him back. And they screwed the pooch on this one, man.
Listen, the city is going to be happy if they win. That's the truth. You're going to be happy if they win. And in a few weeks, as much as we all love Barry, it's going to be on to the next. It's the kind of culture that we live in.
Yeah, but Ted and McClellan aren't obligated to pay Barry for what he did in the past. They should pay him for what they expect in the future.
I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're doing.
They didn't
I see both sides.
They didn't feel he was worth the money he was asking for.
We just don't know what's going on over there. We don't know about relationships. We don't know about who is more respected on the bench. We don't know about the tactical moves that they made.
Yeah,
we just don't know.
Well, I agree with that, but Joe saying that, they should pay him because of what he did his run last year.
Yeah, but that sometimes, I do agree with that sentiment to an extent. I do agree with that. You should be rewarded for what he did. But it's not going to happen here, but he'll get rewarded the next spot. I guarantee you that.
By the way, no Caps fans should ever be upset with Barry Trotz.
Oh, I don't think any
He
are.
helped deliver a Stanley Cup that had never come to D.C. before.
Right.
Nobody should be upset with Barry Trotz for reneging on his deal and weaseling his way out of his contract. If that's the way people are looking at it, he should be revered and admired, in my opinion.
Well, if you have a negative viewpoint of Trotz, I don't think you're a human being.
I just can't talk to
What's
you.
Reardon's contract situation?
I don't know. They gave him a new deal last year, right? He was one of both assistants.
So he was one of the guys they extended.
Yep. They extended everyone in the building except for Barry.
Would you feel different if they brought in a bigger named coach to take over for Trotz instead of like a coach in waiting like Reardon?
I may be even more Team Trotz. if they did.
I don't know. We don't know anything about hockey.
I don't think they're going to do that.
We don't know who's respected and
No,
who's
what
not.
they're going to do is they're going to give it to Reardon on the cheap, and they're going to say he knows all the same stuff. He knows all the personnel.
Yeah.
He's got the X's and O's acumen.
Well, I know that, but would you feel differently if they went after a bigger, high-profile coach? And so it's not the organization.
That would be a slap in the face.
I would be upset
That would be a slap in the face.
Took Barry Trotz and threw him overboard for a bigger name just because you kind of,
because he's a name.
Just because he's a name, you kind of disrespect Trotz and think other people might be responsible for his success. I don't know. That would be weird if they said, Trotz, you're not worth $4.5 million or $5 million, whatever, and you bring in a higher profile name and pay him more money than you're willing to pay Trotz.
But behind closed doors, some of those guys might say Reardon's a better coach.
I'm sure some of
those players might say, yeah, Reardon was the reason we won.
They would have gotten rid of Barry last year if they could have. I mean, if they
but what's funny is,
but they didn't want to pay him out.
But what's funny is, based on that trigger and the clause in his contract, he could have been here 2 more years.
Yep.
Yeah,
now on a very cheap deal,
way below market value.
No, I get it, but I don't know if they would have felt this way, but they would have been stuck with Barry for 2 more years.
No, they would have been thrilled to be stuck with him for 1.8.